Today, we're going to talk about fears that you may be facing, right? As an entrepreneur, we're going to talk about overcoming some of those fears. What are those fears? And I have some notes prepared. So, what really I want to talk about is the misconception of really overcoming fear. I feel like fear is always there. You just have to kind of leverage it to your advantage and tame it, right? You have to control it rather than overcome it, is really what I would say. And so I have notes. I'm going to go through the notes, and I hope that this message that I have for you today, especially if you're an entrepreneur, really inspires you to take action this week, to think bigger, to just do more and become more than you are right now. Because the thing is that every entrepreneur through all phases of growth will face fear. So when you leave that job in the beginning, right? When you leave that steady paycheck that you've been holding on to that is false security for so long, you're going to face fears. When you file your, corporation or LLC, you're going to face fears. When you get your first customer, right? You're going to face fear. When you get your first delivery or product to your customer, you're going to face fear. And when you make your first hire, when you make your second hire, as you grow, there's just so many fears with business. But it's okay. And I want you to understand that it's natural as long as you don't let it trap you. We're going to talk about that. So when you start to get invited even to speak on big stages, you face fears. Maybe when you start the first page of your first book, you're going to face certain fears. And with life and with growth come fear, because fear, we have to understand, is an emotion. So fear is an emotion, and we experience emotions. And the function of fear is not necessarily bad, right? The function of fear is to really keep you safe. So if I were to tell you, there's a lion running loose right now outside your house, fear would probably tell you to stay inside so that you could stay alive. It's just that's the function of it. But what happens, sometimes is that just as fear can keep you alive, fear can turn on you and keep you trapped. And I'll repeat that. Just as fear, the function of it is to keep you alive, it can sometimes turn on you and keep you trapped in a cage, right? In a cage to where you're really robbed of so much opportunity in life, even though your heart is still beating. So in that case, fear really will keep you in a cage. Fear will keep you trapped in a job that you hate just because you're afraid to start a business that you've been dreaming of starting for 10 years. Fear will keep you trapped in a relationship that you can't stand even though you can't take it. Fear will keep you trapped in a small mentality where you don't invest in yourself and it will actually cost you more in the long run. Fear will tell you, like I just said, not to invest in yourself. Fear will tell you not to dream bigger, not to think bigger, not to take more action. Fear will tell you to not network, to not meet new people, to stay in your town and not travel and have these new experiences. Fear will keep you scared, right? And the truth is that I was scared to go to networking events in the beginning until I went to my first networking event, had a great time, met some amazing people, and then you get over that, right? I was scared to speak on big stages until I went and had my first speaking event, got on the stage, and was able to use my words to pour into people to give them confidence and give them strategies that work in their business, right? I was scared to even record this first podcast in the beginning because I had no idea what I was doing. But you see how that fear will fade as you take action. So I really think that action is the antidote for fear. The more you do nothing, the more you stay trapped, right? I was even scared in the beginning of my journey on LinkedIn, especially, but even prior to that, I really had no social media following to take that first video that I posted and to start just getting out there because that's a fear, right? What are people going to say? What if it's not perfect and things like that? But I was only afraid of that until I posted my first video. And when I did post my first video, even my hands were shaking in the video, right? So, and with that tiny decision, I wouldn't, if I had not made that decision, I wouldn't really be where I am today. I wouldn't have the network that I do today. I wouldn't have built the following that I have today. And it's incredible how one tiny moment of action can kind of neutralize that fear forever, right? It's very interesting how it doesn't have to be all at one time. So you don't have to face all your fears at one time. You don't have to take all action for all of your fears at one time. You can just really tackle one tiny one at a time. And it takes so much energy. And this is true. So when we think of fear, a lot of the things that we're afraid of haven't even happened yet. And most of them actually statistically will never happen. But yet we pour so much time. We really invest energy, time, and space for fear. So fear, I feel, is not just an emotion, but as an entrepreneur, you have to be careful because fear can also be an investment. You're investing time, right? You're investing energy, and you're investing a lot of imagination into fear. You're using so much mental energy and imagination, which could be used for creativity and for thinking of positive things instead, right? And you're investing all the scenarios that pop up in your head. It requires energy, it requires time, it requires focus, and it requires a certain level of commitment, especially if you keep going back to that fear. So what if you were to just transfer all of that investment into, positivity? Maybe it could create better outcomes for you. Maybe you could just feel more at ease while you work or while you, are going towards whatever goals you're going towards, right? And I really think that, I know that in the title I put faith here, but I feel like as an entrepreneur, especially if you're in the beginning of your journey, it's less about faith and it's more about courage. And I really do feel that way. If I look back on like the decisions that I've made, and courage has been monumental to that, making a decision in a split second that it could have gone one way or another. You can't do that without a certain level of courage. So you really have to sit back and you have to ask yourself, do you have the courage, or will you reach really your last breath, saying, I should have, I could have, and allow the life that you always really wanted to haunt you because you never had the courage to go after it, or you never had the courage to take just a little bit of risk for so much reward in return, right? And you have to ask yourself, do you have the courage to take action and start thinking like a millionaire, even if you have today $300 in your pocket, right? And you look at certain people that go from rags to riches, and they had to have that courage. They had to have the courage to start thinking different, even if everyone else around them didn't have the courage or even look down on it, right? And it's easy to fit in. That the bottom line is it's easy to blend in, it's easy to fit in, but it takes absolute courage to be different, right? It takes courage to say, you know what? I am changing this generational trend of just settling and being okay with having enough to pay bills. I'm going to be the one that changes this and that creates wealth for the next 5 or all future generations to come. It takes courage to be that person, especially in the beginning when people may be laughing at you for making that decision, or especially when people may be even looking forward to you failing, to say that they were right all along, or, just talking, smack behind your back, right? So it takes a tremendous amount of courage, especially when you don't have the results yet, to make these decisions. But these decisions are monumental. It takes courage to change your life, to change your circumstances, to go from a small town to a big town, to just go on what could be in a positive light, right? And I really think that that's the difference between courage and fear. Courage is making a decision based on a positive outcome. Like you're making it in the moment, but really with future forward thinking that's positive. Fear, you're making a decision on a negative, right? So you're staying in place because of what could happen, right? On the negative side. It takes courage to go after your dreams, even when people are laughing at you, like I said, to start a business, even when people are talking behind your back or saying that you will fail, right? and judging you along the way. It takes courage to change. It takes courage to prosper. It takes courage to use your voice when everyone else is silent. It takes courage to get seen when everyone else is fine, just blending in. And it takes courage to stand in your power when everyone else is comforted by their excuses. And you just have to ask yourself, are you going to be one of the ones with courage? Because I feel like most entrepreneurs do have courage, especially founders. Founders need to have a lot of courage. They're just going off in the beginning, taking action on an idea that becomes a reality through action. But that idea would never become reality without action, right? And so I also think that it's beautiful that the root word for courage is core. It's a Latin root word, COR, and it means heart. And that makes sense, right? Because courage really requires you to think positively, to use your heart and your mental faculty, and not just, oh, what could all happen negatively based on logic, right? So my question to you is, do you have the heart to go after your dreams? Right? Do you have the heart to start a business? Do you have the heart to scale your business? Because growth is important in your life. The more you grow, the more you have in your cup, the more your cup can run over and give to other people. So it's almost selfish to stay where you are and to stay stuck and to stay thinking small. It's extremely selfish to just say, oh, I have enough for myself. Well, what about having, an abundance where your cup runneth over and you could help people that maybe don't have? And your business can be a vehicle for doing so. So I just wanted to present this kind of a little snippet on courage today, especially as an entrepreneur. And if you are one of the ones that has had courage to start your business, to grow your business, I want you to share your experiences in the comments, tag a friend who you think would benefit from listening to this little snippet on courage. And I just want to wish you all an amazing Sunday. God bless. I'm having a webinar on Wednesday. If you want to join, go to yougrow.club, YOU grow.club. Be one of the ones that have courage, the courage to not just blend in, but to stand out, differentiate yourself, take your business to the next level, be able to provide for your family and experience new things, meet new people, and you won't regret it. Ciao.